Hey there, true believers. You're tuned into Baxter Building Radio via the Negative Zone feed, and welcome to episode number 24 of the Fantastic Four Fancast. My name's Nate Charles, and I'm your host. And as always, I am joined by my co-host. His name is Shane Murray. How are you doing tonight, Shane?
Pretty good. I've had better weeks, but pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. Been working on a couple things this week. What's been going on with you?
This is a bad week and some little leg pain and stuff. I'm taking the doctors and getting some stuff looked at, but it's all right. We're progressing. And yourself?
Well, for me, a lot of new things going on at work, getting some new training out of the way. That's been fun, to say the least. A lot of people don't like their jobs or don't like what they do at their jobs, rather. But, every time I get to do something new, it's a plus. Went out to the comic shop this week, got some books. Looking forward to reading them. Sadly, no Fantastic Four related stuff, though, unless you count Planet She-Hulk #1, which I have not read yet, so I can't comment on. But I'm a big She-Hulk fan.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'm going to make it out there this week because sitting hurts. So that's kind of a bummer.
Now, does icing that help, or
I've tried a tens machine. I've tried lots of things. It's really deep in my hip. It's going to be bad. Whatever I end up with is it's probably going to end up being some kind of weird physical therapy that ends up fixing this, unfortunately. I've tried all kinds of stretching and like weird yoga things, and that helps for a little bit, but then it gets right back to being super sore.
well, good luck with it, pal.
Well, luckily I have the tens machine here, so I can do that part all at home already. So it's just getting whatever this is out of there because it doesn't feel good to walk and it doesn't feel good to sit. It basically you just have to lay down. It's really boring.
It's letting you catch up on your backlog, though, right?
No, because if I lay down, I'll fall asleep. I can't read and lay down because I'll fall asleep 100 times over.
Yeah, buddy,
But on
man.
that note,
Sorry,
you
it sounds like you need a win and you're just not getting it.
yeah, that's why I was like, but on that note, you want to get to the cover of this issue and into like our fun games?
Sure, Shane, we can do that because it sounds like that's what you want to do. And it's not that I don't. It's just that, we'll get you out of that seated position as quickly as possible here tonight. So, on that note, tonight we are covering Fantastic Four, Volume 1, number 221. This is the second part of a two-part story, technically the first, both written and drawn by John Byrne. If you are interested in hearing part one of this story, go back to episode 19, where we cover Fantastic Four Volume 1, number 220, titled And the Lights Went Out All Over the World. Today's issue was cover dated for August of 1980, but was released on May 27th of 1980 with a cover price of 40 cents. Shane, would you like to go ahead and take a guess at what a graded 9.8 copy of the direct market version of this book has sold for, which I have
Um,
looked up via pricecharting.com?
I can't remember what the last one was. I wish I wrote it down. So I'm going to go with $74.
So you're slightly off. It's actually $178.88.
Wow.
Want to take a shot at the ungraded values sold for on the direct market copy?
Uh, 850.
You're over $3.92.
Thank God.
Are you ready for round two? Because we actually have the newsstand copy to talk about as well.
Oh boy. Okay.
Now, here's the thing. I don't have any recorded sales on a 9.8 copy. The highest I could find was for a 9.2.
Okay.
So go ahead
Uh,
and take a shot at that one.
210.
$43.
Really?
Yeah. How about an ungraded copy?
Uh, $2.50.
This is a little strange because, I said the direct market value on the ungraded one was $3.92.
Yeah.
The ungraded value on the newsstand one, $4.45.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah. little higher this time around. But hey, at least these values aren't going to keep you awake at night. So
No, but these prices are the prices are all over the place.
they are.
Consistency is a thing. I would like to see consistent pricing across comics.
Well, I mean, let's be real. There are key issues, stuff that has first appearances, big events, but then you also have things that maybe, aren't as significant. I think what really drives the value of this book is that it's early burn.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that there's not reasons to have pricing increases for key issues or something. I meant like I would like to see like a more consistent grouping of pricing between from a 9.2 of what the newsstand you said was
Yeah.
$40 and the 9.8 of the direct market was 170 something. Like they should be closer together. It should be like 70/40.
Okay, so here's the deal with this. Keep in mind that I'm not referencing an Overstreet guide when we do this. I'm literally going on to pricecharting.com, which is just recording sales of what things have sold for. So this is what someone has been willing to pay for the issue, not what it's actually valued at. I
Yes,
have
no.
been considering changing that and getting my hands on an Overstreet guide to do
Mm.
this and have that reference point here going forward. And we may do that here in the next couple episodes.
So
But
the thing is, like you said with the Overstreet Guide, I'm not talking about just that. I'm talking about the fact that people are willing to pay, I think sometimes considerably extra for some weird stuff just so that it's in a plastic container that you can never read again in your entire life unless you break the seal. And then it's not worth your $178.
you're not a big fan of encapsulating things.
Oh, absolutely not.
I can't say that I am either. I like to read my books.
They're there to be read yeah, you just gotta break the seal, man. That stuff drives me bonkers.
Me too. I definitely get it. Anyway, this week's issue was written and penciled by John Byrne and inked by Joe Sinnott. Colorist was Carl Gafford, letterer Jim Novak, editor Jim Salicrup, and editor-in-chief was Jim Shooter. Shane, would you like to hear a synopsis of Fantastic Four Volume 1, number 221 today?
Absolutely.
All right, Marvel Unlimited reads, Sue discovers more about the alien creatures who are threatening Earth's magnetic poles. She also discovers their vast history on our planet.
I mean, it's straight and to the point.
Yeah, definitely. Makes me crave this Shaneopsis a little bit, but yeah, it seems, I don't know. As far as synopsises on this issue goes, it seems dull in my opinion, but
Yeah, for a issue that has so much stuff going on, it is kind of bland.
anyway, the cover for this issue is not by John Byrne. The cover for this issue is actually done by Bill Sienkiewicz and Joe Sinnott. Do you want to go ahead and take us through that cover, Shane?
Yeah, so this cover is crazy. There's so much going on. So you have obviously you have like this you have space in the background. So it's got a black background leading
Is it sp
into
is it space or is it just the night sky over Antarctica where there's no light pollution?
I mean, it's the night sky over Antarctica. There's no light pollution, but isn't the night sky still just space?
I don't know. When I think of it being space, I feel like they should be like on an asteroid or something.
I mean,
Sorry to nitpick. I apologize for nitpicking.
for me, that's like just going outside and looking up in the sky. So,
But when you go outside and look up at the sky, you go, "Oh wow, look, it's space."
no, I guess I do say I'll look at all the stars a lot. I don't know. Depends. Um, a green mountains, which was a weird choice for color, but I guess it breaks up the monotony of all the other things going on here, which is not monotony for sure.
Yeah,
So
because I think it's supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be an iceberg, but yeah, the coloring on that is strange.
you have Torch flying in with like a looks like he's about to throw fire at this weird headless footbird. And you have Sue in a bubble with a bunch of strange shadow people looking like they're trying to get into the bubble. You have Reed wrapped around this again, one of these shadow figures that's like super jacked and ready, trying to punch the thing in the face, and Reed's trying to wrap himself around it to stop him from being able to do it. That previous monster I just talked about was also has been pinned to the ground and just utter like he's got complete dominance of the situation. And there is a rocket ship behind Sue for reasons.
Well,
Uh,
I mean, the reasons are is that that is the rocket that the Fantastic Four took from the Baxter Building to Antarctica last issue.
yeah, I mean it is that rocket. It's just I don't know why it had to be on the cover. It's just a weird. It's just a weird choice. There's so much going on already. I don't know that you had to throw that little rocket there.
I don't know. It's definitely representative of what's happening in the issue. So you can't claim that this is false advertising. The rocket is there. So,
No, no, it's not false advertising. I'm just saying, like, with all the other stuff going on the cover, I don't think the rocket was necessary.
fair enough.
And then in the corner box, because you know I'm a corner box simp, as the kids say nowadays, you have all of the faces of the Fantastic Four.
Yep, and that is a John Byrne corner box. And one of the things that I am excited about going into this run is that he changes up the corner box rather frequently throughout the run. So it'll be interesting to see those going forward. So we open up to the first page and we're greeted with a synopsis of the book itself. Shane, you want to go ahead and read that upper caption, please?
Sure. All the stuff in the green there? Absolutely. Reed Richards, Ben Grimm, Sue Richards, Johnny Storm. Together they braved the unknown terrors of outer space and were changed into something more than human. Mr. Fantastic, the Thing, Invisible Girl, and the Human Torch. And now the world will never again be the same. Stan Lee presents the Fantastic Four in the
Tower of Crystal, Dreams of Glass. It's quite an interesting title.
yeah, it really is. But it is like going back to the last issue, that I mean it was a big tower that did look like a glass crystal, so descriptive.
It is. Our narration picks up with it began with a worldwide power failure which affected all electrical devices, cars, planes, everything. Investigating the mysterious energy blackout, the Fantastic Four came here to the Arctic, not far from Earth's magnetic North Pole. And here they found an alien creation which threatens to reverse the polarity of the planet's electromagnetic field. And we see Reed and Sue and Johnny all dressed in parkas, and Ben not dressed in a parka, all looking on in amazement as Johnny says, Reed, you can't be serious. I wouldn't joke about a thing like this, Johnny. If we can't stop the process, that tower could conceivably destroy all life on Earth. Here is where it may all end. In the shadow of a mile-high tower of alien crystal. How do we fight a thing like that, Reed? That's what we have to find out, Johnny. Fast. Unfortunately, I can't figure out how that tower works without a closer examination, and the area between here and there is crawling with alien beings. What are we seeing here, Shane?
Oh, we're seeing the crystal that popped up at the end of the last issue that we were talking about, and you see the Ben falling off the cliff that the other ones are hanging onto. It's like the Parker gave them a little bit of extra grip to stay above at the top of that layer of ice there. It's got so many colors. It's got blues and yellows and pinks, and it's just utterly beautiful and dangerous at the same time.
And massive. I mean, look at the size of this crystal compared to the alien beings that are surrounding it.
Oh yeah, it is. I'm not quite sure how big it is, but it is definitely quite the skyscraper of crystal.
And Sue looks at Reed and says, That makes it my job, darling. Sue, I can't let you walk blindly into a lion's den like that. We have no idea what we're facing. We've faced the unknown before, Reed. You know I'm the only one of us who can get close unobserved. But let her go, Stretch. Susie's got more sense than the rest of us put together. She'll be okay. Very well. But stay invisible and don't drop your guard for an instant, Sue. If anything goes wrong, oh, don't fuss so much, Reed. I'm perfectly capable of protecting myself. I just wish I was as confident as I sound. And as the invisible girl approaches the crystal tower, the aliens have broken off into groups, and some of them are forming a protective circle around the tower's perimeter. Describe these aliens to us, Shane.
They're, as I said about on the cover, they're kind of like shadow people. They don't really have faces. They're like black inked, very small, no facial structure, but they kind of have like a ape-like stance to them with like longer arms and shorter legs. They're a really interesting little bugger.
And they stand about as high as Sue's knee.
Yeah.
And she thinks, they're so small, almost cute looking. It's hard to believe that they could be a threat. Well, anyway, they can't possibly hurt what they can't see. But then, what happens, Shane?
You get a ree as she breaks the line, like she set off an alarm.
Oh no. An alarm. Somehow they've detected Sue. And Reed begins to ditch his parka as Johnny bursts into flame. We have to go. We have to distract them. But try not to harm them or the tower until we find out more about how it works. Flame on! I'll do my best, Stretcho. But if they get rough with Susie, there's gonna be little alien pancakes all over the North Pole. Sue continues towards the tower as the rest of the four charge on the aliens. Sue, wherever you are, go on. We'll try to hold them. I don't like the sound of Reed's voice. There's a tone of dread in it that I've never heard before. I hadn't realized until now just how much he's worried about these aliens. But I mustn't think about it. I have a task set out for me. If we're ever to discover why the aliens built this tower and how it works, I must learn as much about it as I can. But but it's nothing more than it appears to be. It's just a giant needle of crystal. There are no visible mechanisms inside it. There's just a strange energy tingle crackling around it. And Sue places her hand on the crystal tower. Oh, this is beyond me. I wish Reed could examine this. She looks down and sees what, Shane?
She looks down and sees some steam rising from the water.
Wait, the fissure in the ice. There's steam rising from the exposed water. The water couldn't possibly be that much warmer than the air around it unless. Yes, there are strange colored lights deep below the surface. And as Susan Richards makes one discovery, the rest of the Fantastic Four is about to make another of a very different sort. Ben, be careful. We don't know what these creatures are capable of doing. Huh? Hey, you gotta be kidding me, Reed. Being careful was one thing, but this is ridiculous. You don't really think these undernourished little munchkins can hurt us, do you? But what happens here, Shane?
They form themselves into a fist and with a nice wham, slam right into Ben's face.
I mean, hey! And the now giant creature looms over Ben. Holy cow! A bunch of them fused together into one big one. First, we get blackouts all over the world, and now we get this big galoot. When did these blackouts happen, Shane?
They happened in the last issue.
Which, again, you can go back and listen to episode 19 to hear all about it. Ben continues. If someone says Klaatu Barado Nikto, I'm leaving. Shane, what is Klaatu Barada Nikto?
Not actually positive about that, but quick Google says that it's from a movie.
Okay. What movie?
Um, The Day the Earth Stood Still, which was a 1951 film, I guess.
Yes, yes, it was. Now, the day the Earth stood still revolves around an alien robot, and the phrase that is actually used to stop said robot is Klaatu Barada Nikto. So honestly, I mean, Ben should kind of be hoping that it is as easy to stop these things as saying a phrase, right?
Yeah, I guess I mean, you're not wrong. He should be hoping it's as easy as just saying a phrase.
And as the mammoth creature advances on the thing, I was afraid of this. They're not true life forms. They're some kind of plastoid robots. Robots? In that case, I don't have to worry about hurting them. Let's see how they react when I round up a bunch of them. And Johnny begins to encircle them with flame. Okay, guys, try fusing into a third-rate Hulk now and see where it gets you. Almost as instantly as if in response to the torch's challenge. What happens, Shane?
They start to form into a different shadow plastoid creature that is a bird form now.
Here they come, just like the ones that attacked the thing. No, wait, they're taking on a different form than the others. And to Johnny Storm's surprise, a great manta-like shape takes form, launching itself over his flame wall. Reed, they're adapting to match our powers. How can we defeat them? Not far away, the Torch's sister echoes his fears. The boys are barely holding their own against those robot creatures. It's up to me to do what I can to help. And that means discovering just what is behind this tower. If I can hold its processes, I bet I can find a way to stop the robots too. Those lights below the water are my only clue, so down I go. Forming an invisible force field around her, like a makeshift diving bell, Sue descends into the icy water. The lights are coming from some sort of spaceship, but it's not like any I've ever seen. What does this spaceship look like, Shane?
It's like has like bug eyes and it's pretty square, all things together, and it is like a pinkish purple. It's a very interesting spaceship, but it is literally sitting on the bottom of the ocean.
And Sue touches down on the spacecraft's hull. I don't have too much air left. If I can just find an airlock or... Wait! That stream of bubbles rising from that section of the ship could be what I'm looking for. In seconds, and we see Sue descending into the ship on a green ladder. Incredible! A force-screen airlock! Thank goodness I didn't have to figure out any alien control systems, and there's an oxygen atmosphere in here. But what do I do now? The ship seems quiet, but everything looks shut down as if it's waiting for something. She begins to make her way deeper into the ship. But what? What purpose could it have here? Why are those little robots deliberately reversing Earth's magnetic polarity? Is it the prelude to some kind of invasion? This is the only fully active chamber I've seen so far. What could it be for? Those open cases look like some kind of hibernation tanks, but nothing even remotely human ever used them. What do these hibernation tanks look like, Shane?
Weird. They're square. They have weird shapes inside of the rectangle there. They look like nines, almost like a backwards nine or a G.
You know, like a
The way it's
lowercase g.
yeah.
And a voice comes from behind Sue. Excellent, human. But I am surprised. We did not think your race had evolved enough to recognize a technological artifact. Oh. And as the invisible girl whirls about in horror, on the surface, things are not going well for the others. And Reed has attempted to wrap himself around the larger robot creature that was attacking Ben. It's no good. This creature is pummeling Ben relentlessly, and there's nothing I can do to stop it. Reed, look out! Eh? And what's happening behind Reed?
There's another pile of those little plastoid robot things forming up to jump Reed and get him off of the big one that's punching Ben.
And they begin wrapping themselves around Reed's torso. Good lord! More of the robots are shaping themselves into an elastic tentacle. He's right. They're countering our powers with the best equivalents they can form. And Johnny flies by, still being pursued by the manta plastoid. It snared Reed, and this flying freak is going to get me any second. I have speed on my side, but it can change direction just by changing shape. It's engulfed me in its own body, and it's fireproof. I'll flame out from lack of air and suffocate in seconds unless... Summoning every iota of his awesome flame power, the Human Torch lashes out with the full fury of an exploding sun. And what happens, Shane?
He blows off all of this gook slash plastoid creatures off his body as he supernovas himself out of the his danger.
I did it! My Nova Blast blew the thing to pieces. I'm free! Ah, but for how long? Oh no! The individual pieces are still active. Even blasted to smithereens, it's attacking me. I'm too weak for another Nova Blast. These things are tightening on me like a vice. I can't breathe. And as a dark shroud of unconsciousness threatens to overwhelm the torch, in the alien craft below, Sue Richards is having a close encounter of a different kind. And Sue has been confronted by three of the alien creatures. Can you describe those to us, Shane?
Oh, yeah. They have wickedly awesome red froze with these they have these tentacles for arms. They have four legs. They have these little tuts of red hair on their backside. And they're it's really hard to explain because like you have to kind of look at them, but they're like a ball with a long neck that comes out into a head that almost looks like an ant's head, the way it has with the eyes, and then the almost like it must be feelers or tentacles again coming off past their mouth. Very much looks like an ant's face.
So, Shane, are you aware of what the name of this alien race is?
Uh, no.
That's fair because it's not in this issue. We actually don't learn the name of these aliens until the publication of the third issue of the official handbook of the Marvel Universe. But, and I think I'm pronouncing this correctly, the name of this race is the Fladibi. That is FLB apostrophe DBI.
Fair enough.
And one of the aliens says, "We are aware of your presence." And the next one, which is wearing a medallion of some sort, which I think denotes leadership, says, "But you seem to be able to block our visual perception of you." And then Sue thinks, "What in the world are these things? They're like no alien race I've ever seen." And the final alien says, "We are natives of the fourth planet of the star you call Beta Lyrae. Please do not be afraid." And then the alien says to the leader, "Primus, I detect great uncertainty. The Earthling has realized that we can monitor its thoughts. It pictured other non-humans. How can a being from so primitive a biosphere be aware of alien life forms?" And the leader says, "This may be some deception mounted by one of our enemies. Surround the center of thought." And the other alien says, "At once, Primus. We cannot perceive the creature directly, but we can triangulate its position mentally." "All right, I heard that. I'll show myself, but don't try anything." And Sue makes herself visible while surrounding herself with an invisible force field. "If you do, I'll fill this room with my force field and squash you all." Remarkable. And once again on the surface, what do we see, Shane?
We see Ben absolutely clobbering that one monster that was trying to hit him before with a giant spow as he blows into a bunch of pieces.
"Okay, you two-bit Gumby, I've had enough. It's clobbering time." He thinks to himself, "Holy cow, I knocked the critter to pieces." While Johnny, still entrapped in one of the creatures, thinks, "Got to fight. Got to stay conscious. Ben, be careful." "Don't worry about me, Torchy. Soon as I mush these pieces, I'll bust you out of." "Hey, what are they doing?" "What are they doing, Shane?"
They're starting to reform and they start reforming into basically like water guns.
"My gosh, little pieces all fused together into tiny little cannons. I can handle impacts from almost any kind of shell, but if they're lasers or something." They, however, aren't. And they begin to spray down Ben
Yeah, with a nice goosh.
Hey, it's some kind of liquid goop. It's all over me, and it's hardening. In an instant, the thing is completely covered by the tarry substance. And Reed has also now been nearly completely hogtied by these plastoids. Ben, Ben, break free. You must break free. You can't, Reed. That stuff stretches like rubber. Still, Ben struggles on until what happens?
Until he falls into the water.
And Reed, panicked, yells, "Oh my lord, he's toppling over the edge. He's going to fall into the water." Just like a stone, the thing sinks into the bone chilling murk below. And not far from the stricken thing, we see Sue still in conversation with the aliens while surrounded by her invisible force field. Why are you surprised by my knowledge? Surely you knew how advanced Earth was when you landed here. Why are you trying to reverse my planet's magnetic polarity? Interesting. I am perceiving thought pictures of your world as we communicate. I fear our plan may have gone very much awry. Perhaps I should explain. I am called Primus. I am the first among equals, leader of an exploratory colonization party which came to your world long before your race developed any technology. We were here for several thousand solar revolutions, my race having a much longer lifespan than yours, when a peculiar display of aurora occurred. At first, we were mystified. Then we discovered that our machines no longer functioned. To our horror, we realized that the magnetic poles of your planet had reversed, and that we would be unable to leave until the polarity was restored to that of our homeworld. So, programming our non mechanical plastoid drones to find a way of accomplishing this, we put ourselves into deep hypno sleep trance to avoid boredom and waited. Outside, we assumed the drones worked towards their set task. Yes, I remember Reed telling me once about the Earth having reverse polarity, but that happened 500,000 years ago. We have a huge technological culture now, almost as advanced as your own. Then the images I have picked up from you are true. We have been asleep here for 500,000 years. Your society has, of course, evolved. By the grid, we are in danger of committing a great crime against your race. And Primus's tentacles clap the side of his face in sheer horror. Elsewhere, what do we see, Shane?
We see Johnny still in like completely encased in these things and just struggling, and Reed also trying to figure out how to get out of there, but it seems like every time he moves, they just get tighter.
I think it is important to mention that despite being wrapped up in these things, these plastoid drones have not managed to extinguish Johnny's flame.
Yeah, they don't seem to be affected by it whatsoever.
Reed, I can't take much more of this. Hang on, Johnny. I just realized we've been going about this all wrong. Listen, to defeat them we must, but before the leader of the FF can outline his plan, what happens?
Sue comes up from the depths with Ben on top of her bubble to protect herself from the cold water, obviously, and bringing up the aliens that which she was speaking with before on the ship.
Yep, and Ben is still encased in that plastoid substance.
Yep, and you get a nice sploosh as they pop up from the bottom of the water there.
Sue! Ben! And that substance begins to melt off of Ben. Ben, are you all right? Yeah, just let me catch my breath. And Primus begins making his way towards Reed and Johnny. Drones! Cease attack on native life forms! And they also begin to melt off Reed and Johnny. Reed, the robots are turning into jelly! And Reed and Sue run toward each other for an embrace. Oh, Reed, thank goodness. I was so worried about you that I could hardly think straight. Sue, my darling, are you all right? When you didn't appear for so long, I feared the worst. Quickly, Susan Richards fills her husband in on the story the aliens told her. And so they've already deactivated the tower. They don't want to hurt us. They just want to go home. Isn't there some way we can help them? Hmm. Yes, I believe there is. Soon? What do we see here?
We see Ben pulling up the ship from the bottom of the ocean underneath that's like through the frozen water, and it looks like through at least two ice layers because it's such a big ship. And then Ben carrying it to where Reed wants him to put it so he can work on it.
Careful, Ben. We don't want to wreck their ship. Don't sweat it, Stretch. This rope the drones made out of themselves is dang near indestructible. All right. Now put the ship against that slate incline in the ice cap. It'll serve as a launch ramp when I get the ship working. When? Don't you mean if, big brain? No, Ben. When? And it's an incredible exercise in scale here, seeing the size of the ship as Ben is carrying it on his back and just the detail that has been put into the starship's design.
Oh my God, so many lines. So many lines.
Within minutes, the finest scientific mind on the face of the earth is hard at work, quickly analyzing the nature of the alien circuitry and adjusting it. Aha! Their basic microgrid systems aren't very different from a number of forms I've postulated. How ironic. They could have performed this circuitry alteration themselves, even though the man-magnetic polar reversal rendered all their electrical systems useless. From one end of the ship to the other, the man called Mr. Fantastic works, carefully realigning delicate circuits until... There. One final adjustment to their secondary power relay, and my job is done. And so, we see Reed meeting with Primus outside of the spaceship. We are eternally grateful for your aid, one called Reed. Is there any way we can repay you or make up for the inconvenience we caused your world? No thanks or payment necessary, Primus. The Fantastic Four were formed to help people in need, even non-human people. A noble sentiment. Thus, as the gleam of a false dawn pinks the southern horizon, what do we see?
We see the rocket taking off and blasting out back to space so they can go home.
Are you all right, Sue? You seem quiet. Oh, I'm fine, Reed. I was just thinking. Primus and his friends have been away from home for 500,000 years. I wonder what they'll find when they return. Well, Primus told me that their culture has been stable for hundreds of millions of years. Perhaps they'll find things much the way they've left it. Yeah, well, I know one thing that ain't gonna stay the way they left it. I still got me a first-rate mat on, and I know just the target to use it against. And what does Ben do?
Oh, he starts stalking off to go, clobber something.
That's something being what?
The crystal that they left behind.
If this blamed tower can do the stuff you say it can, reverse the poles of the earth and all, I don't think we should leave it lying around. Can you imagine what Doctor Doom or some crumb bum like that would do with this? Sheesh! So let me see how many hits it takes to knock it over. Ben, no! But Reed's shouted warning comes too late.
Oh yeah, you get a giant crack as Ben just puts all of his force into making sure this shatters in one fell swoop and breaks into a million pieces of glass shards. Not really his brightest thinking point, but he did say he was mad.
Holy! The blasted thing shattered! Either I hit a flaw in the crystal with a lucky punch, or I don't know my own strength. Ben, hurry, get under my force field before you're slashed to ribbons. And Sue quickly throws up a force field over the entire team. Nice going, Susie. That was foolish, Ben. That alien artifact could have provided us with untold information. I still don't know how it worked. Now it's destroyed, and I never even got a chance to examine it. Oh, give me a break, Reed. If an alien stubbed his toe, you'd want to spend 10 years studying it. We done our good deed for the day. Let's go home. Next, the possession of Franklin Richards. However, that's going to be a story for another time, Shane. All right. That takes care of this week's issue. What did you think, Shane?
I enjoyed this issue. It was a nice follow-up to finish up that story we had before. One of the first two parters we've touched on so far. Was because it wasn't part of the mini series. So, this would have been, I think this would have been better if it did come out in that one big giant book that they was supposed to come as that Coke, right? This was the other part of the Coke issue.
Yeah, it was
So,
originally a Coca-Cola promotional comic that, after Coca-Cola rejected it for being too violent, editor Jim Salicrup had the idea of breaking it in two and adding a couple extra pages to make it part of the regular series.
I mean, so I think in the first one, when we read it, we were like, "There's not much violence in it," but in the second one, I mean, I guess they do have a lot of fighting in it, but they're superheroes. Like, of course, there's fighting. It's not
I
even
mean,
that bad.
yeah, but the FF does go all out in fighting these plastoids. I mean, Johnny goes Nova. Like that's the full extent of his powers, right? So I mean, there is something to say about them having a violent reaction, I guess, here, but at the same time, like to your point, it's superheroes. I mean, I'm not sure who Coca-Cola was planning on marketing this book to. As far as I know, as far back as Coca-Cola has been in existence, people of all ages drink Coca-Cola, right? So, they could have adults reading this book, they could have kids reading this book. Just seems like them saying it's too violent really narrows down the niche of who they were thinking was going to read this.
Yeah, they were trying. They had a demographic they were looking for, and it was kids. That's the answer you're looking for.
Yeah, and still, I don't think that this is a bad issue for kids overall.
No, this would be, you can give this to a 5-year-old. You might have to explain some stuff, words in there for them, but this is a fine issue for kids. This would be a safe for kids book now, or whatever they call them.
So, you know who did not think very highly of these two issues?
You.
No, I actually like these issues. I think they're good entry points for the Fantastic Four,
Uh,
which, and we've discussed on this show before, is that every comic is someone's first. No, I think as far as that goes, like this is, you know, it's standard. Is it standard Fantastic Four fair? Yes. But I think, if someone was going to be interested in the Fantastic Four and I wanted something that was going to get them up to speed and show them what Fantastic Four comics are like on a regular basis, these would be two issues that I would not hesitate to recommend. So yeah, I like these issues. John Byrne does not like these issues.
that doesn't shock me.
John Byrne has apparently been quoted in saying that these are the two dullest issues of the Fantastic Four ever published.
Really?
Yeah,
Apparently he totally didn't read what was that, issue 7?
yeah, well,
He never met Kurgo.
yeah, but it's still there's something to be said for that Kurgo issue too, even though I didn't necessarily care for it on the whole.
That was just a joke.
I
'Cause
know, I know. For me, I don't necessarily agree with him. I thought we've spoken about back when we covered Marvel 2-in-1 in episode 11, Marvel 2-in-1 number 50, as that kind of being an audition for Byrne's run on the Fantastic Four. This can also be looked as an audition because he disappears again until issue 232, where he comes back on as writer and artist again and begins his long run on the series. So I don't know. I wouldn't say these were necessarily dull. I think it gave us a good taste of his understanding of the team. But, most artists are their own biggest critic, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, would you like to move on to our Fantastic Four of the week?
Yeah, we're starting with Fantastic Frame.
Yep, I do believe you go first.
Okay, I think you are right also. So mine is page 14, panel 2. That is Sue coming up from the bottom of the ocean with the aliens and Ben on top of it. Therefore, wrapping up like most of her arc in this, where she found the aliens, talked to them, basically made friends, and brought and saved Ben at the same time before talking to Reed, who's there in the foreground of the pit of the frame.
Nice. And what spoke to you about this one? Because that's an interesting choice.
The thing that spoke to me about it is, I mean, we'll get further into it as I I think this leans into answering some of my further question or my further of the things that we do ask as like our four things. This was the panel that was like the all right, we have the solution and now we're going to get to the part where we're going to the end of the book. I guess like this was like I know there's a word for that that I can't think of. What is it when you hit like the top of the peak? It's like the peak
The
of the book before
climax.
the
The
climax.
climax. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's the word. So you hit the climax of the book right there, and Sue's part comes into the like the A plot comes into the B plot, and the whole thing comes together for the climax, so you can get to the point where you finish the book. And that's where I started with that.
All right. All right. Nice.
What is your panel, bud?
So my fantastic frame of the week is page 15, panel 2.
Oh, the beautiful image of the ship on Ben's back.
Yeah, so there's something to be said about seeing Ben do some heavy lifting, and the detailing on that starship is just immaculate. Like I can only imagine how long it took John Byrne to draw this. It's incredible, just incredible detailing.
This looks like you could have used it as like a engineering paperwork for a schematic.
But I don't know. I think it also speaks to Reed and Ben's relationship a little bit here. Reed tells Ben what to do, and Ben does it. Surprisingly, with very little grumbling this time around, which is kind of funny. And also aptly leads into our next topic, which is my grim grumbling for the week, which I am going to go ahead and give that to page 3, panel 1, which is when Sue is beginning her trek towards the aliens and the crystal. She has a very strong showing in this book, and maybe it was an attempt by John Byrne to kind of humanize her character a little bit, but I honestly didn't need to hear her self-doubt in that moment. She's very much characterized as a strong woman in this book. Didn't need to have it just walked back slightly in that moment. I had to really nitpick to go for this one, but that's what I had.
Yeah, I had a nitpick for mine too, but I can see that. I totally forgot that that was even the thought bubble because she's so strong for the rest of the book. I totally forgot that she even had that thought bubble in the beginning of this book.
What was your pick for your Grim Grumbling?
So mine was 15 panel 3. And specifically it was about the fact that he was like when Reed's like they could have just he's like it would have just took them to flip the pan like the wiring slightly and they would have been able to just leave. Like if they have all this technology, why couldn't they figure out that you just have to flip this like over again? Why is Reed the smartest one in the room? They should have figured this out on their own. This was like going back to where we talked about issue 7 where it's weird when Reed just figures out things when these other races are supposed to be vastly like smarter than the human race and he has to figure it out to save the day. It's just it's like a weird trope, I guess.
I'm going to argue this one with you a little bit. First of all, they've been asleep for 500,000 years. When they went to sleep, humanity was not nearly as smart as it was. So I don't know, maybe not just Reed, but like Tony Stark, Peter Parker potentially could even look at this and say the same thing. I don't feel like this is the same as with Kurgo. Also, I mean, maybe it just speaks to the nature of intelligent life because let's be real, man. Like, how many times could you have maybe done something yourself, but you had a machine to do it, so you just let the machine do it? Like they were like, we went into like hypno trance sleep to avoid boredom. That's essentially the same as say, oh hey, the floor needs vacuumed, right? But I got a Roomba, so I'm gonna watch TV.
I mean, fair enough. I was talking about just like obviously they had enough smarts, like the race has enough smarts. I'm not talking about Reed specifically being the one that's more intelligent than them. I'm talking about them using Reed as the one that's more intelligent as them. I'm talking about if they have space travel, they should have been able to figure out how to fix this themselves. It just seems like a weird way to end the story.
Okay. I mean, and I'm not going to take away from the fact that bothers you. I just, like I said, I had that argument to make. Yeah. So Shane, what was your cosmic cliffhanger for the issue?
Page 10, panel 4.
Sue making herself visible, but encapsulating herself in the force field in front
Yeah.
of the flibdibly or flibdibly. I can't even pronounce it. It's hilarious.
Yeah, the alien race there.
Yeah.
Yeah, when she says like if you try anything, basically I will literally just squish you all with this force field. I don't care.
Okay.
Like I was like, are they going to try something or is she literally going to have to squish these aliens with a force field?
How did you feel about the follow-up or lack thereof on the next panel?
There was a lack thereof. You're definitely right. I mean, it was a great panel the next page. That was a panel that was like in a my follow that was like one of my three for Fantastic Frame. I always love seeing Ben clobber stuff. But I think it was great when you finally get the follow up like 2 pages later and they have that whole discussion and they realize that the human race is smarter than they are. It was a good way to get that plot point going forward, and she didn't have to use her powers and no one got hurt. It was nice to see them talk their way through it instead of have to physically beat stuff up.
So for my cosmic cliffhanger, I went a little bit of a different route this week because normally we would do the last panel on a page because and we developed that doing Stan and Jack books where usually the scene shifts between pages or whatnot. But that's kind of the nice thing now that we're not referring to this as a page turner moment. We're doing cosmic cliffhangers, is we can kind of do it at the end of a scene. So my cosmic cliffhanger was actually page 8, panel 3.
Oh, that was a good one. I thought about using that one also.
Yeah, which is when Sue is exploring the alien ship and the voice of Primus comes from behind her. It's what are these aliens going to look like? Are they friend or foe? It just left the right kind of questions for me at the moment. And yeah, almost like a scene out of a horror movie or, a sci-fi thriller. So yeah, that's why I decided to take that one as my cosmic cliffhanger to this week.
That is a really good one. I didn't even think again, another one I didn't think of. I scrolled past it because I'm always looking for that last panel, I guess. And yeah, I when we were reading back through it, I would have also probably chose that one.
And then for most fantastic player, my MFP of the issue, it's probably no surprise. Or maybe it is. I'm going with Susan Richards.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
100% agreeing with you on that one.
So just gonna go down the list here. Covert operation to infiltrate the alien ship. Check. Meets the aliens and brings them up to speed on both their time in hibernation and the evolution of the species on Earth, thereby keeping them from accidentally killing every living thing on the planet. Check. Saves Ben from drowning. Check. Has Reed repair the spaceship so the aliens can return home safely. Check. I mean, hell yeah, Sue. You've earned MFP.
You missed the last one. Saves the rest of the Fantastic Four from getting absolutely demolished by glass crystals because Ben punched the crystal.
Touche, salesman. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm assuming Sue makes your MFP as well.
Oh, Sue's 100% mine. Yeah. Which is
Anything you want to add to the list
no,
aside
you
from
had them all. I added the last one. That was it. You had them all. You had them all there. Again, going back to your grumbling, it would have been nice for her to not have that little self-doubt moment, but she got over that real quickly when she met the aliens. She got into it's time to go mode.
all
So
right. So if you, our dear listeners, are interested in reading this story, where can you find it? Today I read it out of the Fantastic Four by John Byrne Omnibus Volume 1. It was released back in November of 2011. There was also the Marvel Masterworks Fantastic Four Volume 20 trade that was released in September of 2018. There is also the John Byrne Fantastic Four Artist Select Series hardcover. Came out the following year in December of 2019. The Fantastic Four Epic Collection Volume 12 also has this story. That is the Possession of Franklin Richards trade from August of this year, 2025. Or you can check it out on Marvel Unlimited. Well, Shane, any idea what we're covering next week on the show?
I do have it written down, I think.
Well, I will spare you the suspense. We're returning to the 1990s to do Fantastic Four Volume 2, Number 5 by Jim Lee and Brandon Choi. In our previous episode on that, which was Fantastic Four Volume 2, Number 4, which you can check out back in episode number 20, we finally got to meet Doctor Doom face to face. So we get to follow up and see how that works out during the Heroes Reborn era.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see where we go now that we have Doom right there at the forefront, I'm assuming at the start of this issue.
Yep. So check us out next week for that. Any final thoughts on Fantastic Four Volume 1, number 221 this week, Shane?
Again, like always, I always say, please go try to find it, track it down, and read it for yourself, or at least look at the art because Burns' art's beautiful and it's really well inked and colored in this book. And our voices add to the story, maybe, or maybe subtract if you don't like our voices going through it. But this is one of those books you really have to take a look at. The art is just beautifully rendered in the whole thing. We don't do justice to that ice crystal at all.
We do our best. We try, but I mean, that's one of the reasons why I haven't pulled the trigger on a video format for this show is I think it's important that even though we do go through this story panel by panel and dramatize it basically, really would like for people to go check out the issues for themselves and the art's a big deal. It's a big draw for that.
I think that if you read these two issues back to back, it's not going to take you more than 20 minutes and you're going to have a blast of a nice story. And even if you don't know the FF, this will introduce you to it. It gives you a background and you can see all their power set through the whole thing. And they don't make Sue work for Dior.
Never let that go.
I will never let that go.
And if you want to understand that reference, go ahead and check out episode 4, where we covered Fantastic Four, Volume 1, Number 3, The Menace of the Miracle Man.
I'm sure there's going to be another reference down the line that's going to make me madder than that one. But right now, Stan, that one's the one that's going to stand in my head.
Well, as always, listeners, your feedback is important to us. We would greatly appreciate it if you could leave us a 5-star review on Apple or a comment or a review on Spotify. You can subscribe to us on your preferred listening platform so we show up in your feed each and every week. We are on Facebook. Just look up the Fantastic Four Fancast, where we have a group and we encourage you to engage in FF related discussions and share Fantastic Four content. We only ask that you adhere to our group rules that we have listed. The most important of which for me is that you are respectful of the other group members. Shane, we are at 231 members as of this recording.
Yeah. So people are finding us. That's good.
Yep, we have an increase each and every week. Slow but steady growth. You can also find us on Instagram at Fan4Fancast. That is FAN, the number 4, FANCAST. And also, you can email us any feedback or comments at fan4fancast@gmail.com. Again, that is FAN, the number 4, FANCAST @gmail.com. Any feedback we get, we'll read on the air. Unless you don't want us to, just mention that wherever you leave it. Once again, for Shane Murray, I'm Nate Charles. We appreciate you listening. And until next week, we hope you all stay fantastic.